Hello, I'm Burnett Navarro, and I am doing a reflection of my video of Social Studies Alive, My Community. In the first part, I sat the students down and I wanted to take notes about what they knew about a community. As the students replied to some of my questions, I wrote them all down um, to add to an info chart. After I did that, we discussed it. Students had some great responses. So the next day, the students were going to look around on their way to school and from school to see what they had saw around their communities. Each student received a KWL chart to write down what they knew, what they wanted to learn, and what they've learned. From the big KLW chart, I wrote each student had to write one response. They didn't have to write a lot of responses for that question. The essential question was what is a community? Some of the students responded about what a community was. They put some said Chick-fil-A, some said McDonald's, some said a community is where families and friends get together. I asked them about what people are in a community. They said doctors, lawyers, teachers, and librarians and cooks. And for the next part, I read from the Social Studies Alive, my community book. It's the words that the student should know are in bold. The social studies and it says community. As I read the book, told the students about this is a new book that they're going to be learning about. And I read, and at the end of each passage is a question. For example, what type of homes are in your community? I let the students do a table talk together as a group to answer each of the questions. And for each, there's 4 tables. Each table had to answer the question, and they all took turns to answer each of the questions, but they had to communicate together to come up with the answers. After we came up with all the answers, the students were given this worksheet. The worksheet was on the overhead projector. I let the students work on the worksheet together or independently, and then as a whole group we went over each answers together. As a whole class, I may have let somebody raise their hand and answer, well, why do they think this is a workplace? Or why do you think this is where people live? Why do you think this is where people solve problems? And why do you think this is where people play? And the students gave really great responses. So the students filled in their KW chart, then we moved on to that part. Then we had a whole group discussion about what is a community and what makes a community and why it is a community. The lesson they were learning about what is a community. It was learning about places to live, places to work, and places to solve problems, which is on the graphic organizer. After that, the students were going to let me know some things that they wanted to learn about in their community. Some of the feedback that I received from my videos was that I did give a good description of the instructions prior to starting. I did recall on their prior knowledge of what they've learned about the community. I gave praise often to students who were doing what they were supposed to be doing. I was very specific with their praise. I allowed students to share in a variety of ways. I repeated what was said so everybody can have a clear understanding of what they should be doing. I allowed the groups to work together in a table talk for everybody can be involved in the lesson. Um, lots of students were talking versus I was talking for the majority of the lesson. I had a positive effort on my face expressions at all times. I was positive with my tone and my words. And lastly, I had great classroom management skills. That is the end of my reflection for Social Studies Alive, my community, making a KWL chart, and talking about places in a community. Thank you. Bye.